Cowboys Nation? Welcome to yet another very, very, very special episode of StarChasers Girls Talk Ball. As you know, it's your girl Mickey, aka Craven Cowboys. You know, I got my girl Star tonight, and we have a very special guest, Miss Iisha Morrison. What's up, sis? How you doing? How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm so happy to be here with you ladies. Support the ladies in the community. So yeah, I'm very glad to be here. I've seen y'all work before, but I heard Star on Sky's show, and I was like, oh, I gotta clock in. I gotta see what I gotta chill with these ladies, and I'm grateful to be here.
Awesome, yeah, Iisha. You know, when you hit me in the DMs, I was like, oh my god, like it's just one thing to we know the ladies in this business is far and few between, right? But then you got ladies in this business, some of them don't know what they're talking about, you know what I'm saying? Especially on the 3 and 4 letter network. But you got somebody like Iisha Morrison that actually knows ball. That's definitely a person as a female content creator, fans of the Cowboys that we want to talk to, we want to collaborate with, we want to be able to get a better insight on our team. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. Y'all know what the vibe is. Before we get started, please like the video, please share the video, please subscribe to our YouTube channels if you haven't already. Y'all see all my social medias on this side. Y'all know Mickey Craven Cowboys, Iisha at Iisha Morrison on X, Twitter. Iisha, you got any more social media?
I don't give out my Instagram. I don't want those problems. I don't want none of those DMs. I'm good.
Okay, so just follow her on X. All right, she's on X.
Right. Yeah, just like Star was saying, Iisha really just really I was telling her offline just a little before we jumped in here that she's really just one of my main inspirations. Really just one of the reasons why I wanted to jump on Star as well. I actually was able to see Star's profile just look before I decided to start mine. I was just like, there are women out here who actually putting their voice out there, who know the sport, who down to the detail. Because you don't, like Star was saying, you don't really hear every day where women who they may know surface level, and nothing really wrong with surface level. When you're starting to know the sport, it's good to start anywhere you can. But when you hear women who know the details of the sport and can talk ball with the best of us, as we see with Miss Morrison here, it just makes the game even more interesting, and it kind of gives I would say, just I can speak for myself, creators like me just more confidence to be able to put my voice out there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I feel like I do this. That's part of why I'm here, because I'm realizing a gift is nothing if you don't share it. And I'm realizing also too, there's a lot of women who want to do this, who want to be involved, but there's some gatekeeping. There are some, and because there's not that many of us, it's easy when you see somebody doing it. It feels different when you can touch it. It's right. Different, and so I felt like I couldn't be I can't be what I think that I might become or be on my trajectory and not be involved in the community in this way and giving back to you ladies. So I'm excited. But also too, I respect y'all's work too. I've seen y'all's commentary. I've seen some of y'all shows. Obviously heard you on Sky's show. And I was like, heck yeah, I definitely want to talk ball with these ladies and build some more community, girl.
Yeah, and we all here for it. That right, Star.
Yeah, we're here for it. I mean, this is super cool. You know what I'm saying? You see content creators and stuff like that, like Iisha, DallasCowboys.com. You see her content. You know what I'm saying? But to actually be able to talk to her personally and converse with her, it's a whole nother. It's a different level and different feeling. So this is definitely a mark in our book as a content for sure. So Mickey, let's get into the content.
Like Star was saying before in the beginning, make sure you guys hit like, hit share, hit subscribe on all our platforms. Welcome to everybody in the chat. We can't get to you one by one tonight, but like I said, thank you for coming through, spending your time with us. And hope you guys enjoy the show. But just like Star was saying, we're gonna get a just kind of reviewing the bye week just a little bit. We just came out the like we were saying, the bye week, and actually heading into the Rams. But just before we do that, we're just gonna kind of get a feel of where the team is right now. They came back to practice on Monday, and Actually, real quick, Star, you want to take over right quick? I actually want to bring up the injury report for our, fingers crossed, lack thereof. So
what
far,
injury report?
Right. That's looking really good. That's looking really good.
Yeah, hell yeah. Like, I think it's just, like I said, this is like our 6 week. Y'all know when you're in school and y'all have like, they have like the benchmarks and it's like your 6 week progress report. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that's essentially what we're doing right now. Like, basically just looking at the team, trying to decipher like the temperature of the team. Obviously, we know we came off of a hard fought win versus the Chargers. After we suffered that defeat from freaking San Fran. And so, there's been moves that have been made on the practice squad and stuff like that. So there's been additions that have been made, like I said, on the practice squad, but also players that we actually didn't make the playing time, like Rashaan Evans. So it's a lot of stuff that, I think good stuff for us to talk about. There's also issues, even though we did pull out that Chargers game, that obviously we can see an evaluation that's kind of been going on. So those are things that we're going to talk about as far as run game, offensive line, and stuff like that. But Iisha, let's talk about the practice injury report.
Oh yeah, man. This is what you want to see post bye. I mean, I think it's normal to see injury report like this post bye, but yeah, this is kind of what you want. And when I was talking to the guys today, the first thing I asked them was like, how they feeling? How's your body feeling? How was the bye for you? What did you do?
Yep. Yeah.
Because I don't think people like understand just it being a 17 game season it's kind of crazy to say out loud. Like, I mean, when you just start to get a grasp of the physical toll that this game takes on these players, I think that this bye was needed. I'm not a fan typically of an early bye. I'm really not. Yeah, but I think in this case, this is kind of the time that they needed to reevaluate some things. And everybody being healthy today was a big deal, especially someone like Wanye, because he not only changes things for your safety room, he also changes things for special teams where he's very active too. So getting him back healthy, I think is a good start to this week. And baby, let's just hope that we make it through this week okay.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm hoping for. Like Iisha said, like this is a blessing. Like we don't see nobody on this list, anybody was added. We knew Wanye was already out. He missed the Chargers game, so to see that today he was a full participant. I mean, y'all know on this show how much we've been campaigning for Wanye to get more snaps.
Love me some Wanye.
And impactful Wanye is how much he plays with, like, his hair is on fire.
Yeah.
That's just that.
And from preseason too, from the jump, like not just regular season, from preseason as well. We saw him make some big plays early.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes people like Wanye unique. Because we always have what we call camp heroes. Where they just look great at camp, look great at preseason. Then the lights come on and they don't know how to do nothing.
Wanye likes the lights.
A lot. Yeah, even more than practice.
You see, there are players. Because there's a lot of light here at being a Dallas Cowboy. Like, a lot of light, and it's like, you're a star, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, either you shine in the lights or you become dim in the lights. And if that happens, then it's like, you probably just not a good fit for here. Because there are players that have left us and it's like, they were like so here. But then they went to a lesser light team.
Right.
Seem to be playing better. So I think for some players, like the Dallas Cowboys way, the culture, like I said today on Twitter, I'm like, this is the biggest sports franchise in the world, right? Yeah. Like, this is not in the country, in the world. So there is going to be a different way in which we conduct ourselves. We have to. We're not like everybody else, unfortunately. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know we look at other cultures and we want that culture because they're hard-nosed and their GMs do this and they're this and that and all this stuff, and I get it.
Yeah, I saw you bring that. I'm gonna cut you off. I saw you bring that up early on Twitter, Star. I thought that was an excellent point. Like, we have certain fans who just chasing after the Eagles culture, chasing after the 49ers culture. But like you said, like you mentioned, like the Eagles only have one ring. Do we really want to emulate them? Do we
Eagles
really want to chase the
49ers haven't won since before we won. So it's like I get that y'all
that was an excellent point.
Jerry to be like Howie. I get it that y'all want him to be like John Lynch. Yeah, like can he just be like John Lynch, a former player, hard-nosed, cutthroat? I get it, but unfortunately that's not what we have. And like the Dallas Cowboys, like this is now the Jones family legacy, right? So even when Jerry passes on, his son will take over, and when his son passes on, it'll likely be his grandson or granddaughter. So this is your family, unless something blows up and the family just decides, okay, we need to sell the team, or something corrupt happens like in Washington. But I think for the most part, like this is who we have. So, and I think there are things that need to be changed in the front office. But I said in the offseason, the front office did a lot of things that they don't normally do. So, to act like the front office is just the same as they were 2 to 3 years ago, like this is not true, guys. And I know it's easy. It's always easy to point blame and point the fingers and stuff like that. But as fans, we got to either accept, like I said, we want to cover what people have, but we either got to just accept who we are, or if you can't accept it, then you could be like that. Hey, that Los Angeles, the Cowboy fan that went famous, I think, in 2020.
Right.
Hey, I can't do this shit no more. He said he can't do it. Did I think it was fine? Yeah, but hey, it's better for his peace of mind. He don't have to worry about Jerry and Steven and Ty and none of that stuff. He ain't got to worry about it. He can just be a Charger. So
they got more. Right. They got stuff to worry about over there. So
exactly, they do. They do. So, and that's true. Like you said, Iisha, like every team, guys, like has their issues. Every team has their issues. Like
yeah. I'm glad you said that too, Star, because it's not just an issue with the Cowboys. We're not the only ones having red zone issues. We're not the only ones having problems scoring points overall in the NFL. Like that's a trend in the NFL this year.
Yep, red zone percentage is down a lot, like throughout the league right now, and so yeah, I agree. I do think that a lot of the criticism that the front office, and don't get me wrong, I criticize them sometimes too, but I do think that the overwhelming amount of criticism is because people they're impatient at this point. Like they're ready to see something happen here, and I feel that, I get it. But I do also understand that there's a process to get to that point, and it doesn't happen overnight. And also, too, I know the Cowboys are never going to be the team that is like the team we're about to play right now that has, and this is all respect to LA. I don't have a whole bunch of negative to say, but defensively, I literally don't know half those guys' names. I had to go look them up. I had to go because they went all out. Yeah. They gave up draft picks. They did a whole bunch, and it got them a ring, which is fantastic. But they have been rebuilding in a sense since then to be a relevant team again. And I just think that a lot of teams are just not willing to do that, and the Cowboys are one of those people. They're gonna take little pieces. They're gonna take little steps. But to your point, Star, I do think this past off season they moved in the right direction. That way, I do just need some more of Cooks at this point. So
that's what I'm saying. We're gonna talk about that too. Let's talk about this. So.
Yes, just feel like you were talking about earlier, making moves towards the future and better like moves that we really haven't seen this front office make. In addition to bringing in free agents like Cooks and Gilmore, we recently brought in another free agent, for our linebacker room. And just kind of in our earlier shows, I would say in the off season and also leading up to the season, we were talking about veteran presence in our room, in their respective rooms, like Gilmore to the cornerback room and Cooks to the wide receiver room. And even for that time that Martin was out of training camp when he was holding out his contract, I don't know. I'm sure other people know the same thing, but our guards weren't really kind of catching on as quick. Our younger linemen, the depth guys. And it just seemed like once Martin got in there, he got his contract taken care of. It seemed like these guys kind of picked the game up just a little bit quicker. We saw Bass kind of improve We saw Austin Richards even kind of improve a little bit. I don't want to say overnight, because for me personally, just seeing just a little bit I did see out there at camp, I didn't really see Austin Richards really jump out the page for me. But it just seemed like his name kind of grew a little bit more once they got back to Frisco, and he was kind of getting his legs underneath him. So it just seemed like just having this kind of presence, in these rooms really help out. And even I haven't mentioned here with Hankins coming in, we see more of Osa kind of improve his game a little bit more. We see Mozzie, kind of getting his
Hankins and Mozzie. Yeah. I even watched their interaction on sounds on the sideline. Like it's a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
And you can just tell by the way, like I've been watching Mozzie, and they put out the film of Mozzie because, we had some, I'm going to go ahead and call it idiot, saying that Mozzie was a bust. I'm like, he is a one-tech defensive tackle. He is not going to have the size of Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter is a 3-tech pass rushing defensive tackle. That is what he is, right? So when you have somebody like Mozzie, who came from Michigan, who was pretty elite, by the way, at stopping the run. That whole defensive tackle, that defensive line in Michigan, but specifically the defensive tackles, you know what I'm saying? But it takes about 3 years, right, for a defensive tackle to really settle in and really become who they are, get in their man body. Now, we know Mozzie's strong AF in a boy body, so I can only imagine what he's going to be when he gets into his man body. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We see Osa progressing every year, and even though he has a pretty big size on him, he's moving fast out there. We see him handle his guys. We see him run through the center just this past week, and I think able to get a tackle for loss. So,
Aisha,
what?
So what you think about Osa? Like Osa,
that's my guy. I picked Osa to be my standout player of the year. I picked him at the beginning of the year. He's just such a hard worker, y'all. But he's so even keeled, and he's just a good guy, man. So, his work ethic is through the roof, and to your point, it does take time to learn playing defensive interior on any level. And with Mozzie, I will say, I think a lot of us too, just the way the NFL has been, I think a lot of people are really microwave when it comes to player development in the NFL. I think when you see guys coming in, they're just stars right away. It's kind of set the precedence that everybody is supposed to be like that. Mm-hmm. And with Mozzie, he's not only learning how to be like a better player, he's becoming a man.
Right.
He's becoming and again, he was already a student of the game, but he has to be even more a student of the game. A lot of rookies will tell you that when they come in, it is a humbling experience for them, because college and pro level are two different things. There are some positions that translate right away. DT is typically not one of them. They got to put on size. They have to learn technique. They have to learn timing. They have to learn patience. And so it's also a temperament adjustment too, because Jonathan Hankins will tell you, like, a lot of doing what he does, taking on double teams and stuff, it's to put yourself in a mind frame to say, I'm taking on double teams for somebody else to get a sack, to know I'm not going to blow up the stat sheet. It takes fortitude to realize your role and be okay with it. And so I think that's also something that Mozzie is also learning. He's also learning and becoming a professional and becoming a pro in this league. And sometimes that don't happen overnight for everybody. It takes time. And so his play is developing. Obviously, he's getting some of the best coaching, but I see him growing as a young man. I see him growing as a professional, and I think that paired with his play is going to do well for the Cowboys moving forward.
And everything you said, I know it's kind of a side note, but everything you said, Aisha, just there, everything you said really just reminds me of Tyler Smith when he first came in. He was willing to do the work ethic, and he even put out there, hey, wherever they want me to go, I'm going to go. And the same thing with Marquise Bell. We're kind of hearing the echoes of these guys kind of repeating, hey, I want to do my job. Even Wanye Thomas, if everyone does their job, that supposed to be where they're supposed to be at, it's a system. Everything can roll smoothly if everyone does their job and puts forth, what they can contribute.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And I think I used to just piggybacking off what you said. I don't know if y'all saw Aiden Dirty's interview, but he talked about specifically what I used to talking about. He's like, so they were like, what have you seen? Like, how have you seen Mozzie grow? And he's like, he's growing as a man, just like Iisha said. But he said he's also growing in the sense of he's learning those responsibilities. Like Iisha said, it's a learning curve because obviously when you're in college, he's like, they go from, your coaches are just telling you to play on the sideline, you're not okay, you go in there and do it. It did. Obviously, Mozzie in college, he was able to rely purely on his strength. Like, not
yep, exactly.
He was obviously a step up above everybody else when you come to strength. But he's like, in NFL, it's not like that.
It's
like,
different.
He gives communication to the green dot. The green dot then tells y'all, hey, this is the play. So it's like, you got to know. Right. It's so much that you have to learn. I think people understand and get that. You know what I'm saying? Then you have coaching philosophy. It's a different philosophy talk to. You're supposed to be taking up these double teams and so that your linebackers can flow freely compared to just hit this B your A gap, get to the pass rush. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and to your point,
yeah.
Something that I learned covering the draft,
yeah,
and being at the combine and stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of these college programs, Lord, I want to get a job. I don't want to offend nobody. But a lot of these college programs will forfeit teaching and just allow some of these guys to just play free like that. Because if it means wins, it's something that we see with the mobile quarterback. I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go there.
Yeah.
But I think some of these programs too, to your point, Star, they allow these players because they're winning games. They will allow some of these players to just be who they are in that moment because it's successful in the league. I do think that some programs should be better preparing these guys for the league and the scheme and the things they're going to be seeing in the league. Because if I'm not mistaken, I think Mozzie is changing his stance and everything.
Yeah.
And again, nothing wrong, different philosophy, like you said, Star. But I also do think that I'm hoping that more programs start really preparing these guys, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Because on the offensive side of the ball, I think they get a little bit more of a leg up because they're already doing spread offense stuff, shotgun stuff, all that. But defensively, they just let a lot of these guys go play free, and I do think that hurts some positions, specifically DT, as they get into the league and they try to develop.
Yeah. What's your thoughts here on Evans? I don't know if you've gotten a chance to speak to him or not, observe him in practice or whatnot. First, we saw his film, and I mean, the guy's a tackling monster. I think he had like 150 tackles or something last year. You see, he's very physical on film, flying downhill type of linebacker. What's your opinion on Evans, and do you think that having him in the room with his type of like physicality will help someone like Clark and Bell be more aggressive, more guys willing to fly downhill, like we said, and get those tackles lost, or, a stop is getting, allowing the running back to get like a yard or two, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, let me first say that not all tackles are created equal. So when you go look at his film, you look at the depth of tackle, you look at where he's tackling people, it's at the line of scrimmage, 3 yards past the line of scrimmage. He's not tackling people down the field, because I think that matters sometimes with the linebackers conversation. But also too, to your point, I like his temperament. I think that him coming in, because that's probably my only knock to the linebacker room, and I actually touched base with Damone Clark today about Rashawn. And this is, Rashawn being here is a big deal for him because, like we talked about, there's a veteran pretty much a veteran or two on every position level in this team except for linebacker. And Damone was just telling me today, and it clicked to me because that's my 3-3, that's my guy. He said, I didn't suit up until October 30th last year. And I was like, damn, like it's crazy. Yeah. He's technically, if we being 100, he's almost still a rook. He hasn't even played the whole season. And, so mentorship is very important to him and his development. But I also do think, and this is just me, I do think that Damone and LVE, they worked together a lot this offseason. They did. And I know from just doing this, it's like the more you work with people, some of that stuff rub off. And I feel like some of, number one, he's playing a different position. Leighton plays a different position than Damone.
Right.
So the way he processes and stuff is gonna be different. So I really do feel like some of LVE's reactionary type stuff did rub off a little bit, because Damone Clark, I felt like the 49ers game last year was his best game of the season.
Oh yeah.
I felt like he was slashing. I felt like he was decisive. And I do think we saw this past game that he played was probably the best game he's played this season.
Yeah.
And then when you got a Marquise Bell next to you, baby, ain't no safety. Shouldn't no safety be out playing nobody that's
no linebacker.
So I think to your point, to answer your question, I do think that Rashawn's temperament is something that could be very helpful to that second level, because he is decisive. And honestly, dude, I would rather my linebacker be wrong and aggressive than to be sitting up here catching and waiting for the play to come to them. Yeah, and getting climbed on at the second level. So I do think that Evans, the addition of Evans is going to be helpful. He also is effective as a rusher sometimes. So I'm curious to see how DQ uses that. But his aggression and temperament and him being a thumper, I think is something that we've been missing at the second level consistently. And I think him and Marquise Bell could be, I think Damone's going to be fine, but I think him and Marquise Bell in some packages is going to be like terror for some people.
Really physical. Yeah. So do you think there's a chance that he gets elevated from the practice squad to play versus the Rams?
So for me, I'm guessing I know not a damn thing.
Okay.
But I know nothing, but I would think so. I think he should play. I think he should play this week. He had the first week where he didn't play. He had the bye week. And I know a lot of it too is him learning the language and getting a feel, so if they don't play him this week, I would assume that has more to do with him still getting his legs under him as far as learning the playbook and everything. But if not, I would love to see him out there. And like I'm ready to see him play, because even watching them do drills, he's right. His first step is faster than pretty much everybody's. It's just he's very quick. Like when he's doing his initial steps. And it, again, just drills. But I immediately saw that his footwork was faster. Yeah, it's faster than everybody's. So
okay, well, come on,
for him to be jumping
the field.
Y'all got excited. Y'all funny. I got excited too. I ain't gonna lie. When I seen like them doing drills, and I saw how fast he reacted, I was like, okay, I don't need to see that much. Personally, I don't need to see that much. I'm like, oh, I like that. I like that in itself. Just a quick reaction. I like that. So
yeah. We kind of talked about it a little before we jumped on here, but we talked about quickly here about Micah getting his opinion out there. I'm sure we all saw, what Micah said about the Eagles and them having, no weaknesses, and it should be feared amongst the league. But I know we kind of talked about it off camera about how it makes, how he should have his own platform, get his voice out there. But how do you think this maybe will make his teammates feel, and do you think this may exude leadership behavior?
No, I think that his teammates know him by now. Mm-hmm. Personally, I think they have a good understanding of the person that he is. And also, too, Micah's not just doing this just because. This is his job now. You know what I'm saying? Like, he does things for Bleacher Report. I believe he does, like, he's interested in being an analyst. So I think that they have a good grasp of the fact that this is who he is and this is how he's going to be. But I also think, too, like we talked about earlier, I think Micah really tries not to have any biases when he talks about teams. And again, if you feel like he maybe goes a little overboard, then I think he would rather be perceived as overly respectful and no biases than to be looked at as the guy that just can't say nothing positive about any other team because they're your rival, because they're your whatever. So, again, I think a lot of it was misinterpreted, and we talked about it. I think he could have used better words than fear. He could have said respected. You know what I'm saying? But I get that's what he means. Like, I get that's what he means, but I understand how other people don't understand that.
Yeah. I agree with you too.
Yeah, and I think just a comment on that, with Micah, because I'm not going to sit here and lie and say, some stuff I like what he say on that podcast, some stuff I don't. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Twitter poll, I was like, I really wanted to see what the fan base thought, because when I actually heard that, I was like, Micah, like, No, we cannot.
Yeah. I'm with you, Star. I didn't like it too much. I was like, of all teams, man. Oof.
I'm like about the ops, Michael. Like I don't. It seems like it's too much. And then it came out after him and Christian exchanged jerseys after the 49ers game, and then Christian, one of the I think something Phillips, a D tackle from the Vikings, tried to exchange jerseys with Christian after that game, and Christian was like, no, like I'm not changing jerseys with you. And so I'm like, yeah. So I'm thinking like,
oh wow.
I'm like, you did it with Micah, but now you don't want to do it with Dilla. So
right.
Like,
you lose.
Now I don't know if in the 49ers locker room, like somebody did say that like that could be a no in their culture. Like if we get beat, you don't go out there and exchange jerseys.
Yeah, a lot of people don't like that. But I think people don't understand. Like, I think Michael really, I think he understands the moment and how precious football is. Like, he could be, respectfully, he could be trading jerseys with old dude, and I'm not wishing anything negative on him, but he could be trading jerseys with old dude and then not playing next year. I just think he really tries to be in the moment. And he's trying to enjoy every single part of his experience, and I think that that's just something new to a lot of people, but I also feel like that is the norm really with a lot of people in any profession, is that sometimes I gotta remind myself to enjoy what I'm doing, because I'm just always like, I gotta do the next thing, I gotta keep getting better, I gotta keep doing this, and sometimes you gotta sit there and enjoy where you are, what you worked for,
right?
And it's different than what I think a lot of people want to see from professional football players. And there are some football players that don't, but people jersey swap every week. Like, it's collective outrage to me, because people they go on each other's podcast after like.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's a new generation of players. It just is. There are some old school players in here who still is like hard nosed or whatever. But I just think temperament wise, it is far more difficult to find these like all around dogs and just, I don't want to talk to no media, I don't want no friends, whatever. I just think that's not how
in this day and age, it's just not necessarily realistic. And I do like what you break up like the generation, right? It's a new, and because I be listening to other, content creators and stuff like that, but I feel like the Lord always puts stuff in my heart, and I'm like, ooh, why you put that in my heart? Because I think, because it came out, because we talk about like embrace the feeling and embrace hate. You gotta hate people out there on that field. But I'm like, is that right? Like,
no.
To be people with hate and I get it, but at the same time, like when you're dealing with the new, like these Gen Zers, right? Because Michael is a Gen Zer. I'm borderline Gen Z, but when you're a Gen Zer, it's like you have this sense. When you listen to Michael talk today to me, when he said, I don't like how the media is biased and unfair. I don't like how the media. He said it's disrespectful. He was like, the biggest thing for us as players is even being on the roster. Why are you sitting over there? It's not right for you to sit here and call a person that's on an NFL roster, you're trash. You're the worst. He doesn't like that. He thinks that's disrespectful.
Right.
These players, you don't know. You can call a player ass, but you don't know how hard they work. The sacrifices with their family, with their children. Like, these players are people. They're human beings. Like, you shouldn't be out there saying this type of stuff about people. So we have to know, like, with the new generation,
especially when you're, especially when you're a former player and you played yourself. So you know the kind of criticism that these players are going to get, regardless of whether you're an analyst, whether you're a journalist, or former player. They're going to get the criticism regardless. So why are you going to jump on the same train that these haters, really, what they are, haters / analysts, and you know what they've been through because you've been through it, but now you want to put on the same shoes they putting on. It's just kind of like you kind of adding on unnecessarily to what they already dealing with.
Yeah, and back to the jersey swapping too. Listen, I almost guarantee you that on the flip side of things too, people are like, well, why is he out there doing it? I mean, he probably also he's trying not to be a sore loser too. Like, he's congratulating the other guy. I mean, I know people don't like that energy, and I get it, but it's like, number one, Micah still plays with the same aggression. And did y'all see how he sacked those dude last week?
Right.
Does that strike you as someone
that's to go into? It's
does that strike you as someone
that's soft or that doesn't care, that doesn't want to win? I do think we have to think about that as well, because I'm like, you know what? If Mike is obviously top of the league at his position, so, and I think that in and of itself, players could lose respect, but at the same time, when he is the standard for that defense in that locker room. Because
you also look at what people are drafting for the future. They're trying to get a Micah Parsons type.
Well, because I think that he might be. I think he's changing. I think that he's changing kind of how some players might approach their career and how they deal with things. Like you said, people think that you're supposed to hate the other team. You're supposed to like all despise them or whatever. And rivals are fine. Like there's real rivals. But it's like. It can't consume me. It can't take away from me enjoying the game. And it damn sure can't take away from me saying like, these dudes got it. they got it.
They the real deal. You know what I'm saying? I get that totally. And I think, like you said, Iisha, like if it's not affecting his play, and even you see how other players they talked to 8:30 about that. They were like, D-Law has just been like, he off the charts this year, you know what I'm saying? Like when you actual like in-depth stats, not just sacks, because everybody want to look at sack. They're like, when you're looking at the stats, like pass rush, run rate, all of this stuff, they were like, D-Law is playing like lights out, you know what I'm saying? So D-Law got his second Pro Bowl, was that second or third Pro Bowl nod with Micah. So I do think that Micah really does push everybody to play lights out. Although there's been some games where we like, what the hell is going on? You know what I'm saying with the defense today. I still think ultimately we just got to accept it's a new generation. You know what I'm saying? We kind of got to just get used to it. And yeah, there's some things they shouldn't have said like that, stuff like that, but that's how they talk. That's how they vibe. That's how they connect with people and stuff like that. So,
that's how Mike is, y'all. Y'all gonna have to get over it. He's friendly in that way. That's who he is. He's respectful in that way. That's just how he is. And
that's just
at this point, I don't have no comment on it. Like I'm just like, well, that's Micah. Like
it's okay to be a nice guy, dude. As long as you're like Osa. You saying Osa's a nice guy?
He's a really nice guy.
He seems like a nice guy on the field. Like he's
right.
Like that. Like, and when you describe the temperament, it reminds me a lot of like Dak, because I'm like, when you think of somebody like the type of leader that Dak is, like he's gonna always protect his players. He's never gonna solely denigrate his players. You're never gonna hear Dak saying anyone is ass or trash or something, you know, because there were some players that like, why can't we have players like Jonathan Allen, who was just I'm effing sick of this.
I'm tired of this thing.
Well, you ain't been losing terribly for 7 years.
Exactly.
Right.
Players, they not able to do all that, bro. And it's like, we want to, where's the emotion? But it's like, that's not how we handle things. The Patriots like that too. Like they don't handle things where it's like we just about to just go off on the podium and F everybody. And, you know, this is not how we are. But it's like when you're on the field, you need to make sure that you're performing at the level. And I think our defense, the top 2 games, perform at a high level, obviously. And then, you know, our offense, there's things that we're trying to work out. But there's one thing that you don't question on. If you really know football, I don't question Dak Prescott's IQ, work ethic, play. Every QB has bad games, but, I mean, this guy is consistently, you know, at the top of QB metrics and stuff like that. So I think we just got to accept who players are and stop wishing they was this player and that player and all that stuff. Because I'm like, I just feel like it's unfruitful. It's unfruitful. Like, where do we get? I wish you was like this. Well, they not. You know?
You don't get anything out of it. It's just the perception and how people want things to be looked at. And quite honestly, if you want me to keep it a buck, like The 49ers have been tough guys, but 2 teams have come out there for 2 weeks in a row with a boombox on their shoulder too, and it didn't turn out good for them. It's a persona, you know what I'm saying? It's not. Yeah. So I would rather our guys just be true. Again, I want them to be true to self. Yeah. I don't care. I really, and I understand this is a tough sport. I understand that we want them to be physical and all that stuff, and I get it. But at the same token, if they want to be nice people, then they can be nice people. I mean, it's better than me. Jerseys after a loss. He probably promised him. I mean,
I don't know.
Sometimes these guys be getting these jerseys for their kids, for their family. You know how many of those players' kids is probably fans of Micah. It's not just for them, but those are also like heirlooms for these guys. Like I said, we see how much the league flips over and turns every year. Trayvon Diggs was swapping jerseys at the beginning of the season, and he just had ACL surgery. It can go very quickly, and so I just. Yeah. If Micah's again, the 49ers lost sucked. It sucked. But I understood him swapping jerseys with his dude that he's known through college. And I just I don't know. We have other things to be pissed off about, like the run game. I don't have time for this.
That's what we need to be talking about. But let's talk about this real fast and get to the run game.
Right.
Yeah. And actually, this is it's kind of a segment I heard, and I think in you guys' show the day before last, where you were talking about evaluating the roster. And to your point, in that particular segment, you're talking about maybe giving Tober some of the stats that maybe Gal was getting. But I just kind of wanted to, because we did recently fill our practice squad spots with some guys coming in, 2 guards, a linebacker, and a tight end. And I just kind of had some questions about, we have some depth guys on the O-line. We saw our young guys, early in the season. Me and Star were kind of talking earlier today. And that our run game, speaking of the run game, actually better in the Cards game when we had 3 backups out there. So my question was, what traits do you think these guys that they just brought in, what traits do you think these guards have over the young guys that we already have on the roster who seem to do well in the beginning weeks? And also, what do you think of the position that they decided to fill on the practice squad with these positions such as tight end, linebacker, and these 2 guards?
So if I'm not mistaken, the tight end, I don't have his name in front of me, but do you know what it is? I'm sorry.
I think it's Sam Albert.
Yeah, I believe that he has more. I believe he has more snaps than really anybody on this out of all the tight ends. I think at all, like professional snaps, which is crazy to say. So, I think that's why they brought him in. Just to have another depth piece. Also, too, Jess mentioned that we don't know what's going on, how extensive the Peyton Hendershot injury is. So maybe they just want some insurance there because they already elevated Sean McCune. So I think that was kind of to fill that void. In regard to the O-line depth, I don't really know much about either one of those gentlemen yet. I have not looked at film on them. However, I think
it was kind of hard actually to find film on something like even I think Chris Glazer. I don't even think he has an NFL start yet.
Yeah. So they must have just. I mean, it's normal bye-week stuff, and teams are constantly trying to make their practice squad better, given what they're seeing during the season too, just so that they can have applicable situations during practice. So maybe they just saw something better there. I know Prelude is one of the guys that got released. I think he's been here for a couple years, so maybe they just felt like it was about that time. And Buddy Johnson, the linebacker, I seen him today because I seen him dancing. I was like, I don't know this man. I ain't never seen this man. I ain't never seen this man if he walked right past me. Yeah, I was like, I seen him, and apparently he's a native of here. That's kind of how he got connected and everything. I think actually when I was talking to Damone, he mentioned him by name, so he's a little bit of that thumper guy too. So we'll see what happens with him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I just know he's a native. There's probably some people in the building that saw him play in college or saw him play here. I think he went to TCU. I think he went to college out here.
Okay.
Anyway, he's connected to the Metroplex, and so I guess
it's Texas A&M.
Oh, okay, A&M, yeah. So he's connected to the Metroplex. Oh, he went to Kimball. That's what it was, which is up the street.
Oh, he went to Kimball. Okay.
Wait, where y'all from?
I'm from here.
I'm on BA. Yeah, Star there in Texas, yeah.
Where you from? Star?
Me, I'm from Dallas.
Oh, okay, I'm from Oak Cliff.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know.
I was born in Oak Cliff, then I moved to Duncanville, but yeah, 100%. So I definitely know Kimba. Okay, so he a Dallas boy for real.
Yeah, he is. So I think, that's really, bringing him home and trying to get a feel for him. Yeah. I do think the Cowboys might still be like, I just have a tingly feeling. I don't know. Let me say, I got a disclaimer thing. I know nothing. But it just kind of it's too quiet.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. I'm hoping they attack the trade deadline a little bit. But anyway, okay. There's just some depth pieces to bring in and kind of shore up some spots. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with these guys.
Yeah. All right, that's cool. All right, yeah. Well, let me talk about this run game right quick. Dallas. Actually, I was actually surprised to see the Cowboys are actually just made the top 10 in average rushing yards per game with 119. And I thought that was pretty crazy, especially with McCarthy kind of trying to bring the emphasis on running the ball. And we actually started to see that with the first few games, and we saw them. I mean, granted, they were blowout wins, and we were trying to protect the ball. But I kind of mentioned this to start yesterday. We were kind of texting back and forth, like you said, it doesn't make sense for them not to stick with that plan when we've seen it work. Yeah, although they were blowout wins, but if it's about protecting the ball, it's about establishing the run game. Why not stick with that same game plan?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think I went through because I wanted to see like what is the real issue with the run game. So I pulled because I'm like, what was the best game we had on the ground versus the Cards, right? So I'm like, let me go look at the Cards game. Then I'm gonna look at the 49ers game where we didn't really run at all, and then I'll look at the Cardinals game where we tried to run but we was not getting nothing on the ground. And so when I watched the Cardinals game, that's the game. Tony had over 100 yards, averaging in both of our backs. Tony and Rico were averaging over 5 yards per carry. And I'm looking at the run scheme because it seems what I'm observing from the run scheme, and I had to do research on this stuff, guys. It's not like nobody told me. So if there's some O-line gurus in chat, don't crucify me because I might be wrong. But I think what we've done is, because with Kellen, we had a predominant, what we call outside zone scheme. Now, when we brought in Mike Solari, if you look at Mike Solari's tenure, he's more of a power run scheme. And then you look at Brian Schottenheimer, he's more of an inside. Solari and Schottenheimer coached together versus when they were both at senior. So when I was looking at the scheme, I'm like, we're doing a lot of lead pulling guards, pulling tackles that are going to be lead. Really, it's the guards or the tight ends that are like lead blockers, where you're supposed to have your interiors down blocking, and you pull your guard over to be the lead blocker and help your running back get traffic. So that was working. It was working, like we said, when we had 3 backups, which was, who was it? Chuma,
Bass, Chuma, and who was the other?
When we had them, I mean, the hole was there. They're sustaining blocks. They're getting through. Then I started to notice as we started getting healthier in our offensive line, the run game started getting worse, from worse to worse. So I'm like, what is going on? Why is it that when we getting healthier, our offensive lineman is struggling? And so I'm like, okay, let me watch the film from the Chargers game. Then you see the film from the Chargers game. And it's like, okay, I'm seeing, okay, they good with outside zone. Okay, that makes sense. That's what they used to. But then when I'm seeing we pulling Dak or we're pulling Tyler, we're not, and we're pulling the tight ends. The guys are, it's like the down blocks are not able to sustain blocks in the interior, which is making it harder for the pullers. So by the time the pullers pull, then you see a guy or the tight end, then you're seeing linebackers and stuff just fly. Like, it's the craziest thing. Like, you will literally see Tyler Smith or Sean McEwen. They'll go and block this guy. It's the guy right here that just ran right past you and got to the running back. So I'm like, yeah, it's going on. And I'm like, so I wanted to get your thoughts on this. Like,
yeah.
What do you think the issue with the run game is? Do you think we need a power back? Because I was saying I would like to bring Derrick Henry here, but do you think we need a power back with this power run scheme? Do you think we just need to go back to the outside zone scheme? But I don't know how that works because that's not Solari or Schottenheimer's way. So I'm like, how do we fix this issue? So what's your thoughts on
Well, first of all, I like the points that you made about the inside outside zone, because that type of stuff matters. Philosophy matters, and sometimes people don't want to talk about that. Yeah. But I also want to say, in regard to the Cardinals game, I took it as, and I remember writing it down. Mike McCarthy mentioned that, you know, he was a bit conservative with the passing game because of the offensive line. So I think them going heavy run the way that they did was because of that. Mm-hmm. You know, in retrospect, kind of looking at how much they ran the ball and how successful they were. Mm-hmm. But I also will say teams are also run blitzing a lot, where they're rushing the passer, but they're playing the run on the way as they're blitzing, and they're having success with that. But also too, I talked to Terrence Steele about this earlier, is that teams are stunting a lot against this offensive line, more than what I felt like I saw at all last year. And I think that's because, to your point, Star, I think that teams realize that going power on power against Tyron Smith, you're going to win some, but you're probably going to lose more. You go power on power with Tyler, you probably going to lose more than you win. You go power on power with Biotis, with Zach, you're going to lose more than what you're going to win. So I think that teams are stunning them because that's kind of the only way to get there. Like, I think that's the easiest ways to get there.
Because, see, y'all see things that, like, I don't necessarily see. Because I'm like, I started watching film, like last year or 2 years ago. So
me too. I just I'm still learning too, girl. I'm very vocal about it.
It's definitely a process,
What I'm seeing, because I was like, I'm watching it, but then, you know, people who are more experienced with film, they're like, oh, but that makes sense. So you're saying the real issue is
the stunts. Yeah, it's the stunts. It's the way teams are not only stunting you. You've seen two teams blitz more than they blitzed in the last year or so just to get your team. You've also seen teams come out. I know that Mike McCarthy mentioned this, is that they're getting a lot of unscouted looks. So the stuff that a team was doing a couple weeks before, they're literally altering their game plan for the Cowboys, so I think it's preparation and better preparing and communication. And with, you know, there not being a lot of continuity on this offensive line just yet. Yeah, the community. That's why you see dudes just blowing past Tyler, and he just like. That's why you see dudes blowing past Zach, because because the communication's off. But then also too, I had to tell myself the other day, like, holy crap, they played on the road a lot too. So they've gone into silent count and stuff. And so when you don't have continuity for real, and people are stunning, they're showing you different looks, all that stuff, it's kind of a recipe for disaster. But on the flip side of things, I do think philosophy matters again too, and I do think that Mike McCarthy and those guys could improve with usage. And for me, it's the consistency in usage, because I sat up here and watched the Vikings do everything to the 49ers that we said would beat them. Screens, outside runs, attack the edges. They got their asses tore up. I ain't never seen Fred Warner being slow to get.
Right. I was going to say, I've never seen him look confused on the sideline.
Because this is because when Fred Warner and what's his name, Dre Greenlaw, they are like elite sideline players.
They're the best linebackers.
And so when we tried to run last year versus San Fran, we did a lot of outside zone, and you just saw Fred Warner. It's like they live for that shit, because they're like, we shut that. You cannot run away from Fred Warner. You just can't run away from him. Yeah. But it's like the best way to attack a linebacker like Fred Warner is like, we're going to run straight at you. Yeah. So I watched the Vikings game, but like didn't watch it like in depth. So are you saying, like, because I know they was getting abused, and them corners getting used and abused.
I couldn't believe how successful the Vikings were running the ball. And don't get me wrong, they have Christian Dursaw. They got a couple good pieces on their offensive line.
I didn't even know they got Akers. I didn't even know they got Akers within season. I was like, when did they pick up Akers?
Yeah. So the success, seeing them have success running the ball at them, it was through screens and smoke screens and stuff like that. Quick outs. It was impressive to see. Yeah. And so I also do think that there has to be moderation in how they're distributing carries, because I really think Rico Dowdle is. I don't think you need a power back. I think you got one.
Right.
I think Rico is just fine.
Bro, I watched Hunter Lipke when it was in the Cardinals game. We just asked him to get a yard. Hunter Lipke got like 6 yards. I'm like, this kid, like, we need to use him in the run game, and he's a weapon. I'm like, why are we just using him just to take up blocks? Like, the boy can't catch passes. Like, he can't run that. Like, he can't run the football.
Right.
Like, you have
in them short yardage situations, if they want to preserve Tony's legs, maybe by chance, if you don't want to go to Rico, go to Lipke. And he had plenty of those third down conversions in preseason. Like, he was just running through those like it was nothing, and he got down to the end zone and was able to get a touchdown pretty much off the same play. So it's like,
I don't get it. I don't understand. I really don't. I don't understand the inconsistency with the usage of the running backs, and I don't. It's really hard to rationalize right now because it's just like, if you're really trying to preserve Tony, this ain't it. Because by the time we get to the end of the season, he's gonna be beat up. He's gonna be
see, y'all be trying to call us Tony Pollard. Ain't nobody a Tony Pollard. I love Tony Pollard.
Love me some Tony.
But we have to use Tony how he's supposed to be used. And trying to make Tony a bell cow back where he's gonna have to go re-tackle. And another reason why you see teams run blitz and stuff like that is because they know Tony is not built. He's not. Those defenders are not. Corners ain't scared to tackle Tony, right? He's a small guy. You know what I'm saying? So when you have somebody like that, you have to use players to their ability. Screens. Tony is good in the passing game. He's good at getting out on those edges. Power talk.
Yes, and you mentioned the passing game. That's something, to your point, use him to his strengths. Like, I don't understand why Tony as a passer is something that as a receiver is something we've gone away from. I will say in this game, they should be able to take advantage of that because LA be giving a lot of space in the flats for running backs. So maybe they get back to it, but it's just like,
yeah, he had a big play last year against the Rams. That I think that went for a touchdown.
A huge play.
It just doesn't make any sense, and I really hope it's one of those things that they have reevaluated and looked at in the because it's not logical at this point.
It's not logical.
Again, I like me some Mike McCarthy, but I'm like, Mike, this don't make no sense.
Too much talent.
It don't make no sense, Mike. Why this man getting all these carries?
What's going on? Exactly. And y'all know I came hard for Mike McCarthy. I did a whole 4-part series. I say all the time, why I think Mike gonna take us to the Super Bowl. But that usage of that personnel, I'm like, Mike, I'm not really understanding. Like, we're just trying to give Rico. We see Rico making a tackle for loss into stars. Like, why are we giving him the ball?
It doesn't make any sense, and it's about to get cold. You gotta go to Buffalo. You need that man. You need that man hitting people in the mouth. That's
Maybe that's a good man. I mean, and he did kind of get nicked up a little bit early. Like, I mean, saw him kind of come out in the Niners game. So maybe to your point, Iisha, because I didn't think about that before. So maybe I don't know, but maybe they could be preserving him from later down the line because they know those cold games are coming up.
But at the expense of Tony, nah. Like Tony, I mean, Tony's your home run hitter. He's your home run hitter. He can do so many different things. Yeah. I'm not saying Tony can't run between tackles. I think he can. Do I think it's healthy? No. Do I think it's smart? No. Like, it's
when I say just because the player can do something, don't mean that they should be doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we gotta use it. Do you think we can get off of this? Because I know time. But
I'm sorry. Yeah, we've been fussing about the run game for a minute.
No, but I'm saying that's what I really want to talk about this run game because I'm like, we need to get this fixed because if we want to make it far in playoffs, we have to be able to run the rock, bro. That is playoff football. Like,
and to the point, especially when it does get cold.
It gets exactly like you got to be able to run the rock. And another thing that many people didn't know, because Mickey, I know you and I tweeted about it. I didn't know that our running back coach and our running game coordinator, he's been out the first 6 weeks. He was
right.
So I said maybe that's got something to do with it because, like, the creativeness of the running scheme and things like that, it's like maybe because we've been missing our coach, like things don't look good. So I'm really hoping we got Jeff Blasco back which people don't know, but Jeff Glasgow been in the building. He was our assistant offensive line coach in previous years. So hopefully we able to get this thing rolling. We able to
and
use
the offensive line. Your offensive line got to play better too. I know.
Yes.
I tried to ask Mike McCarthy this, and he kind of shot me down. But
they gotta play better. Last 3
I think he feel like he gave me too much information already for my questions in the press.
He already know he doesn't like talking as it is.
He always be saying too. That's a great question.
I know. I think he like that's enough. But I asked him because logically to me, when you lose guys like a Zach Martin or Tyler or whoever, that to me would condense your playbook, because the things that one offensive lineman can do, the other offensive lineman may not be able to do. I know Chumi Yoga, he can hold his own in left guard, but getting to the second level, absolutely not. Lead blocking,
right?
Absolutely not.
So and those guys were in their first NFL start in that Cardinals game, so you can't expect the same playbook you would get out of your starting 5 offensive line. So
I was asking him. I wanted to know, like, with guys being, I don't know if y'all saw, but there was plenty of times that in the 49ers game specifically that Tyler Biotis was slow getting up, Zach Martin was slow getting up, they was dinged up. So I was wondering if you know, seeing your players be a little dinged up changes what play calls you call. Maybe you don't call a screen because you know these guys are a little hobble. You know, so I was trying to get that he wouldn't give me nothing. However, I do think this offensive line has been a little dinged up. So hopefully we see some of this stuff in space, like you were just talking about, some of the pulling and pinning, lead blocking, combo blocks, that type of stuff moving forward.
I didn't think about that. They have been going through injury too. So
they've been
pretty much from the beginning of the season.
Yeah, so
that's what I was saying. I was like, does that change your play calling? Because I would assume some of the things that you could do before, you can't do that right now. You can't do that right now.
That makes sense, and that's actually an excellent question, because it's like, Mike, you may gotta change something just temporarily while your guys are trying to get healed. You know what I'm saying? Consistently pulling Zach, you know he hurt. So I was like, why are you doing that? You know what I'm saying? Like, I think you do gotta kind of think about, like, we gotta have. That's why I say, guys, with the coaches, the coaches gotta put the players in the best positions to succeed, right? Even if that means I have to alter my scheme, because this is the personnel that we got, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
You said it, Mike, in the press. We value players over scheme. Okay, then we gotta see at some point. You gotta help your players, because I'm like, if you can have an elite player, right? Like a Fred Warner. But we saw Jake Ferguson take Fred Warner ankles. You don't want Fred Warner in there in man coverage versus Trey Kelsey all game, because you're gonna be like, man, this guy's a he's terrible. Get him off the field. You gotta let players play to their strengths. Don't let them play to what, like, having LVE as a rusher. Why, Dan? Why? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we doing, Dan? Stop making sense. So
I will say to comment on that. I do think that some of LVE playing edge was because of the edge play stopping the run on that side.
Okay.
I think that he felt more comfortable with him there sometimes. Even some of the defense. Because I think it's hard to be both in this league. Like, DeMarcus Lawrence is an anomaly. Because if you look at Nick Bosa, he don't play the run that well.
No, people don't understand DeMarcus Lawrence.
Yeah, when you look at some of these star DNs that are really good rushing the passer, they not that good stopping the run. And so I do think that maybe that was why, but I get you on the LVE thing.
Yeah,
I was like, for why?
Okay, let's move on, because we got time. Move on. What's the next thing we got?
Maybe I actually close out on this. Every week when me and Star do our show, we have our star maker, the guy that kind of stands out in the game, who we think, has an impact on the game. And I heard you mention Osa earlier. I don't know if he's going to be a star maker, but who in this current roster right now isn't getting enough attention or praise for their effectiveness? And also, who do you think is the most improved player since the start of the season?
Jesus. Somebody that just not getting enough attention or praise. Sugar Honey Iced Tea. Dang, I gotta go first. I'm stressed. Wait.
Okay, I'll say it. I can go first. So I think, and this is a kid that I really hope that we start integrating into the offense, is Jalen Tober. And I listened to Robert Prince, our wide receiver coach, talk about Tober, and he's like, yeah, even though Tober hasn't gotten the snaps, he's like, he's had very minimum snaps, but he's like, every single time he's had an opportunity, he's made the most of it. We've seen that. We saw it in preseason. We've seen it in his sprinkled in plays that he's been able to get on the field. And I just think Jalen Tober, we talked all about him during the offseason. I really, really think, I said last week, I think Jalen Tober, people talking about, let's get Devontae Adams. I'm like, wow, we got a young Devontae Adams right on our team. And Jalen Tober, bro,
Right.
like, he just needs the opportunity. And you would look at his stats, it would be like 4 for 4, 3 for 3. That boy, he catching.
He catching everything.
Everything that comes.
Everything.
That's what that means, bro. He needs somebody that he can 100% trust. I know I can go to you. You're going to go for the ball. You're going to get it. You're not going to allow me to be sabotaged. Because I know how many times we just see receivers, the ball in the air, they just look at it like, oh no. Like,
go right by them, yeah.
let the ball down. Do something. Help your quarterback. You got to help your quarterback sometimes. So that's my star maker. Most improved player. Oh no, that's a hard one. I had to. Most improved player. Maybe I would say Mozzie, because I think Mozzie has steadily been getting better. And Aiden Dirty said this every game. You know, he just been building. You know, by the end of this year, you know, especially because the way we're utilizing him, I don't think he's gonna hit the rookie wall because we don't. He's not in there every down. So I think, you know, hopefully he'll just continue to build. So by the time, you know, playoffs come, you know, he got a little spark, you know, in him. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, I figured it out. All right, so my star maker, y'all listen. I think Dorrance Armstrong and the snaps that he's played has been very effective.
Okay.
Dorrance Armstrong. Now that's
I like the answer. Yeah, I like that answer.
Yeah, I think
bro.
I think he's improved as a run defender in the spots that I've seen him. Because I felt like teams attacked his side a lot last year, opposite of D-Law, because people don't want to touch it.
Yeah.
And I do think too his pass rush ability. I mean, he has one of the highest pass rush rates in the NFL, and again, that's on limited snaps. But
okay.
I think he's been effective, and he's grown as a player.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. I mean,
And my most improved player, Sugar Honey. Oh my God, that's so hard. My most improved player. Offensively, I'm trying to think who defensively is improved, who offensively is improved. I don't know. That's hard.
Yeah, that's a hard one.
Yeah,
That's hard. I'm trying to think like who's gotten better.
Like who got better? That's what you got. That's a difficult question.
I mean, you took because you took Sugar.
I did take Toby, bro.
Oh, okay. I have one, but we haven't gotten to see him that much this last couple weeks. But the trajectory that Kavontae Turpin was on. Oh, Mickey. Go ahead,
because I love Turpin. Go ahead. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Turpin, bro. Like,
yeah. The times that we've used him, he's been effective. I think that pass in the Niners game was huge, and we could have done something with that after he made that grab. But I think he's grown and really adjusted to the Cowboy life now, but also similar to Jalen Tolbert, he had to learn the playbook. He had to learn, being an NFL professional and getting a feel for that. And he also, too, he turned his life around because he got into trouble in college and he really has grown to me and matured. So, to me, I think he's improved just his, professionalism and who he is as a person. But I do think, the times that we've seen him be used in a receiving capability, in receiving situations, and also, too, some of the rushing stuff we've done with him, he's been effective. And, so I would say Turpin has improved to me. I still need him to look up when he is receiving.
Right. I agree with you, and just to tag on to that, the reason I say Turpin as well, because I just see him, he's always kind of, for me, kind of put forth that effort of wanting to contribute to the team, contribute to that particular play, but you can just kind of see he's like even more amped up, if that's possible. Like we saw on that. He amped up out there, like we saw in that first time.
That's true.
Yeah, it seemed like in that Giants game when he ran pretty much to the end zone to get that touchdown. Like you could just like see like his last ditch effort to just kind of leap in there. Like he's like, I'm getting in there no matter what. Yeah, I just think as last year and not only the fans, but with the fans we're kind of resting. We want to see so much more from Turpin, and they never really utilized him. And that's just as a fan, so you can imagine how he was feeling. He just. You don't really get to feel the game sitting on the sideline getting cold when you're only doing the punt returns and kick returns.
Yes, fair.
So now that he's getting more involved in the game, he's getting his confidence up. And one thing I want to say, I do want to see him just kind of have a little bit more control of the ball, because I think he had a fumble on the last, I think on that 40-yard gain he did have. But it just, other than that, like not saying I don't want to point out mistakes, but even with the mistakes he has, he still contributes to his team. Like you mentioned, the 49er game, he had the one touchdown that we did have that we unfortunately couldn't capitalize on, but just having that kind of that spark, like I just want to, like certain players, like even like Tolbert or even Turpin, I want to be able to look at players that can kind of create a spark for this team whenever we are kind of feeling slow or we are kind of feeling sluggish on offense. We can just go to this player like
because they be ready. They like, please give me the ball. They be ready.
Like he's ready to contribute.
That's a good point.
I don't know how you can look at the Dolphins and see what they have done with speed. And not be like, this guy needs reps. He needs passes over the middle.
They all about speed. Mike and Schottenheimer, every time they don't have the speed, we have the speed. All right, we need to see the speed. Let's use the personnel, bro, that we got. Because a lot of them, they ready. Like Turpin, they ready for the light. They're like, please put the light on me because I'm ready. I'm ready for the ball. I'm ready for the light.
Too, he's not somebody he's not afraid when the lights is on. He's not afraid. He's been there. He's been to the Super Bowl. He's been to multiple. They're not afraid. So I agree.
Yeah.
This has about the current player on the roster who's not getting attention. Just for me, I just want to piggyback and just kind of add Rico kind of there in the mix, because we kind of had him on the roster the last couple of years, and I just want to, just for me, I feel like they kept him here for a reason. You kept this guy here, you know his effectiveness. You not only he held out, but you held out for him for his injury, and now he's finally healthy. He did get a little nicked up in the 49ers game, and he came back, and he's averaging. I think it was in the Jets game. He was averaging 5 or 7 yards per carry. So you see his effectiveness every time he gets on the field, and just for us to continue going away from that, just as we said earlier, just kind of baffles us. But I just want to see more Rico. Just period. Like I just want to see him get the ball more.
It's that time. Like for years we've seen him in preseason and he jumps off the screen. You like, oh, that's a running back.
Yeah,
right. That's a running back.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's bouncing off of people. I mean,
he deserves more than 4 carries a game.
He deserves more. And again, I don't know.
12 yards in the game for even one running back, but for any running back on the team is criminal.
Yeah, I don't understand it, but that's a good one. I feel the same way. I'm ready for Rico too.
Let's get to our last topic. I think we got one more topic. Try to hurry this up because I said that.
No, that's okay. No, I'm okay. I'm here.
Okay. All right. I wasn't sure. Oh, yeah. We just it's kind of a star question right here. We just kind of want to get a feel for the culture of the locker room. Also, not just during the bye week, how they kind of pulling it together, but how do you think the culture is going to be moving forward for the rest of the season?
I mean,
what are you sensing? Because after obviously the 49ers lost, we took a hit there, but it seemed like, I don't know, but in the Chargers game, it just seemed like the players was like, we must win at all costs. Everybody just played like we must win at all costs. And so I just want to know, what's the temperament? You like you said, you talk to the players every day, you see them. Have you seen the shift from before the 49ers game to after? Is it pretty much the same? No, they pretty much even feel what's your insider view on the locker room?
I mean, I think they've really put the 49ers name behind them, which is difficult to do, but I really do. And seeing them, because that's what I did last week before the Chargers game. I kind of want to just get a feel for their temperament and their attitudes and kind of see what they felt like. And I think I have a good grasp on each guy pretty well now, most of them, and I was like, oh, they're normal. Like it was no like, anxiety or anything. They were just like, yeah. They were cool. They were cool, and I really was looking at like Dak and CD's interaction with all the drama and everything, and they were cool. Right. Yeah. And so I was like, okay. So when they came out and won, I wasn't surprised, but I'll say like this week, everyone seems like rejuvenated in a sense. Everyone seems like the bye was needed not only for their bodies but for their mentals. You know what I'm saying? Like to spend time with their families, to kind of regroup. And as far as like the philosophy changes and some of the adjustments, it does sound like there's been a lot of self-scouting, evaluations, and communicative conversation as far as like what do we want to keep, what do we want to change. It seems like it's been a bit of an open forum, and some of the players I did talk to today, they seem confident in the changes that they made, and it sounds like practice they implemented some of this new stuff and it felt good. So I do think that
just to kind of, I'm gonna cut you off, kind of piggyback. Me and Star actually mentioned last week in our show, Osa actually asked one of the coaches to kind of put together his film from the first 6 weeks. Were there a lot of players who asked for that from the coaches to kind of review their film over the first couple of weeks or over the first few weeks of the season?
Yeah, I'm sure that's the case, and I'm also sure that they go through film together. But also too, one thing I will say about this team, and I will say about Mike McCarthy more than I think I've seen before, is that players, it really is like an open door policy. Like I think guys really can voice what they feel and what they don't like and what they do like. Maybe that's not all the time. Yeah. But even after the CD thing, you see that he was like, me and CD had a one-on-one. Then you come out there next week and CD is doing whatever he wants to do, you know. But like, so I do think that they hear players when they tell them like, hey, I need this, or I feel left out of this, or whatever case may be. So the environment this week, it felt healthy, but I mean, I'm gonna be straight up with you. I gotta see it. I want to see it.
Right.
To show me, but I will say some of the players do seem like they're confident in some of the changes that they've made for the better. So we'll see how it looks on Sunday.
All right, that's great to hear. Just our last slide. Just kind of closing out. This kind of on a personal note for you, Iisha. How has reporting for the Dallas Cowboys changed your perspective on the game, and how do you use your experience to expand your knowledge?
Yeah, the way it changed my perspective on the game, honestly, man, I'm gonna be straight with you. I think I've always kind of had this perspective as far as how I love this game. I mean, I love it deeply. I have a serious respect for it, not only the game but the people. And one thing about being, I'm gonna be straight up with you. One thing about being an African American woman, I was in the Army, but I've always kept to myself that when I took that uniform off, I was an African American woman, you know. And so with some of these players, and also too, all the players, they have lives. These are people. They experience different things. They have all different walks of life. And I feel like coming into this and being able to kind of get to know a lot of them a lot more, I can empathize with them. And so for me, most of the women that I meet in this game, I tell them that their empathy is their superpower, because I think there's a lack of that in this game. I think there's a lack of that in people's analysis and how we kind of go about how we report this game. So I take it very seriously, the fact that my influence can change guys' lives, can change perspective, can change narratives. And so for me, I don't think it really changed my perspective. It kind of just heightened it even more, because I've always looked at people like that. But now I'm like, this is not just a football player. The comparison to the military stuff was the fact that like I'm not just a soldier. Like, I'm not just someone that puts on this uniform and goes and serves my country. I have a life outside of this that affects what I do here. And now that I kind of get that, and I also have the opportunity to see just how much change these guys have to adapt to, how much sacrifice that goes into this, it's made me be even more careful in how I speak about it. And again, I know a lot of people be like, oh, don't be scared to talk, don't be getting. And I'm like, no, man, because your words have power. They have power.
Right. Yeah, and especially on your platform, once they're out there. You can't say, "Oh, I didn't mean this," or "I didn't mean to say that," or "I didn't mean to say that." Like once it's out there, it's done.
Yeah, it's a delicate thing. It's a very delicate thing being an analyst. But I will say, being a woman, and not only being a woman, but being a minority, I take pride in the fact that a lot of these guys have my story. A lot of these guys have been through similar things I've been through. A lot of these guys have lived in areas that I drive through and feels like home. And you know what I'm talking about, Star.
Yeah.
Like it's I love the fact that I can go in the locker room and talk to them. I think I'm like a glorified auntie or cousin at this point. And I take that very seriously, man. I take it very seriously. As far as like influencing other women, I really want to, that's what I'm doing right now, because all of this football y'all get, this was like in my head for years. So when I started talking out loud and being on spaces and stuff, I wasn't really looking for reassurance. I was just like, oh, it makes sense to y'all?
Yeah.
It makes sense. Oh,
yeah.
I don't sound crazy.
Yeah.
And so now that I'm like trying to learn more of the in-depth details, like you talked about Mickey and stuff, I'm trying to learn so I can teach, because I do think that women deserve to know this game in depth too. I think a lot of women want to know this game in depth, and so I'm trying to make sure I put myself in a position to where I'm not just sharing my gift with myself, and that other people get to experience it and they can learn from it. And yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at right now. Very humble in this journey, and I really want to start giving back more as I grow and I learn more.
Yeah, I'll make that's a great. We just love hearing that. You know, like I mentioned in the beginning of the show, Iisha, it's just, you know, you have a great show, you have a great podcast with the other women, and that's, like I said, not just you, but the other women on there, like the passion you guys have for the game. And also, like you said, just hearing you guys' background, also where you guys came from, and also seeing your journey of where you guys are going. And also, you know, Haley Sutton, I know she left, and I love seeing her on there with you guys as well, because like she was one of the first teams I've seen in the Dallas Cowboys who, you know, was doing a very good job reporting, and where I got most of my information from. So just seeing that kind of I won't say smaller community of women who, like I said, know the game and just able to be able to be examples for players like me and Star. And so it was just really wonderful to have you on here with us today.
Yeah, I'm glad I came on. And it's not often you get to just sit and talk ball with women.
Right?
It's not often. Right? Like when I meet other women, that's like, I'm like, yeah.
You actually know ball. You actually want to talk, right? Because we have a lot. This is a heavily male centric field. So we want to talk about
Star is really like, and I be finding myself now texting Star, because usually I hit my friends, like my guy friends who are about the game and stuff like that. But now, I'm texting Star, like, hey, like this going on, what they doing, why they doing this? Like, like you said, a woman be able to talk about this game instead of having to talk to a guy, you know, so who may not respect it.
Like exactly, like
we do. We see things differently. I don't, at this point, I don't care.
Right.
And the way that we can articulate it is different too. Like and that's okay. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Yeah. But yeah, when I meet other women that love ball like this, I don't take it for granted. And yes, I'm not alone.
no, not at all. Like you really hit the nail. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. Like I definitely don't take it for granted anymore, because like you said, once you able to find that community of those who are similar to you and able to be able to express yourself just how you want to, like it's just so much. It's just a comforting feeling, just knowing how open others are to your opinion.
Yeah, it is comforting. That's a good way to put it. It is. It's like, all right, I do have somebody I can talk to about certain things and stuff. So no offense to the men folk out there.
Yeah, no offense to the male content.
Boy, you know, they getting their chest, they fifis.
Yeah.
I like that.
We do. They get them.
Fifis. Yeah. Get out your fifis, okay, y'all.
They will, because they will.
They do be in their feelings. They just express it a different way. You know?
How dare ye?
Exactly. We be knowing. It's like, y'all, you just hurt. They don't want to say they hurt. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's like, it's okay, baby. You can express your feelings.
Right.
You can just say you're sad or you're disappointed because we lost it, or you're feeling because you lost
Right.
it.
Right.
Then, you know, blowing up.
Not the baby talk.
That's what they be needing. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just so tough. But they need the women. Y'all need the women. Y'all need the women.
Yeah. I think we provide balance, man. I really
We
do.
do. You need balance. They need balance. Because some of them, sometimes the perspective that they think is just like, I get that, but at the same time, like, it's different. Like, you need to be able to see it from all different perspectives. I think men who have daughters too, more so can get their head around things than men who just raise their boys. I always say every man needs a daughter.
Yeah.
Oh God.
When a man have a boy to raise, it's like some of the connections you're not getting it. You know what I'm saying? But if
There's a softness. There's a softness that.
Yeah, when they have a daughter, it changes them. Like when a man has a daughter, it changes them completely. So, men, if you don't have a daughter, you make one. But anyway, don't make one, man.
Oh, Lord.
Right. Yeah. Hey, look, y'all, on Stars, no, we don't gotta get up out of here, y'all. Like, hey, before we get up out of here, make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that share button, hit subscribe. Thank you, everybody, for your time tonight. Thank you, Miss Iisha Morrison, for coming through for us tonight. Hopefully, we can have you some more shows in the future, but we really appreciate your company. We really appreciate you coming out tonight for us.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank y'all so much. We got to do it again.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We definitely we got a whole season. What about 10 more games?
Baby, we got a minute. I can't.
Yeah. Hopefully a 20 game season we're looking at. Yeah.
Come on, 20 game season. I feel that.
Right. Hey, bring it on.
Okay, 20 game season.
But we just gotta take you one game.
Oh, sorry.
Right. Tell us, Star. Yeah. One week at a time. One
week at a time. We gotta do it. Our two was on there. Let's go to the Super Bowl, but like they always make fun of us. Y'all go to Super Bowl every year. But I'm like, nah, bro. I really think like we can, bro. But it's like it's gonna all take. You have to in order to get to win a Super Bowl. Like it's a culture that has to be established. That's why I asked Iisha about that question because. Like, at the end of the day, you can say what you want about front office, but front office controls the organization. But when it comes to the mentality of the locker room, that's established by Eddie McCarthy and Tim. So that's why we need the coaches. I wanted to see how the coaches are doing stuff like that. But anyway, we done gave y'all an hour, 30-minute show, basically. Thank everybody for coming out. We love y'all. And hopefully, Iisha will be back with us soon. Peace.
All right, yeah. We'll check you guys later.